and welcome to another edition of the Women's Rugby Pod. I'm Johnny Hammond alongside Rachel Burford. How are we, Burf? You busy girl just sitting around the place?
Morning, Johnny. Really good, thank you. Yeah, just a little quick trip over to Toulouse for a couple of days, meeting some of the players just to talk about, obviously there's a new series coming up, and it's a bit of a revamp and a new change. So we're just working closely with the players, liaising with World Rugby, and just getting ourselves ready for it.
That's with your international players hat on, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So that's what we do. We represent the players. So making sure that we're kind of connecting everybody up together, seeking feedback on certain elements, taking that back to World Rugby. Then, it kind of keeps going in that circle, just constant consultation between the players and World Rugby. Really important, isn't it? Because they're the ones in the middle of the pitch. They're the ones who their livelihoods are all based around it. So it's important that we get it right and we understand the rationale and everything. And yeah, so it was nice to get over to Toulouse. Weather was like England. Apart from now, but it was sunny 1 minute, raining the next. But they do coffee and croissants so good. So good. It's a good job I was only there for 2 days.
Fabulous spot, Toulouse. Place Capitale is a very special place. But what I know you may not be able to say, but what generally, you've done this for a while now, what are generally the sticking points? What are the things top of the players' list to say, do you know what, that's still not right? Can we have another look at that?
Well, I think there's always a number of things, and you've got to remember that the landscape is always so different for everybody. What might work in New Zealand doesn't necessarily work in France, and so it's trying to find common ground and find solutions to some issues that are going on. But ultimately, players want things to really work and want to be part of that process. And I think that's the main thing, is making sure that they're part of the process all the way through. Not when it's just a kind of decision time and we're letting you know what's happening. It's actually, let's go on this journey together, which is really, really important. So just having those touch points with players is why it's important for me. I was meant to be going with my colleague, but he's actually got sick on the day. So it's important that we have these touch points just to make sure that World Rugby are hearing all the different views, and then they can also make informed, decisions, or not necessarily decisions, but create opportunities based on those that information coming through.
Yeah, it's absolutely vital, and it's exactly the way it should be. I struggle sometimes with rugby union. It struggles to use the expertise and experience and knowledge that's out there, and it's sort of quite a closed book in some circumstances. Choosing coaches, all that kind of stuff. It's very, very guarded. Anyway, no, good to be able to sort of being able to brush up on your French. No doubt you were fully French the entire time you're in Toulouse. Anyway, coming up on the pod today, we're going to chat through New Zealand's dominance in the world of sevens. Wallaroo legend retires, and some more movements in the Red Roses coaching team. And we'll also talk about the Premier XVs, which is drawing to those playoff places. This is the Women's Rugby Pod. So let's stay on these shores to kick us off then, Burf. The old game changer event at the weekend. Your Harlequins side dazzled at the Stoke with 80 points to 7, 12 tries in all, with Ellie Kildunn, the Red Roses fullback, racking up a hat-trick. She loves a try, doesn't she?
Yeah, I mean, you're very lucky to get the ball off her. She likes taking it on herself. Get the old crowbar out at times. But no, she's a brilliant finisher. And it was great to see, actually. I don't think we've kind of seen that X factor from Elle for a while. And, she was just in her element at the weekend, and it was really, really good to see.
Yeah, she's a very talented player indeed. And a good event. You probably want a closer game, wouldn't you? But Harlequins leading the way in these kind of events.
Yeah, it was really special. We're a club that really try and have these exciting opportunities for players, big game, the game changer. Obviously, we had the double header with the little game because of the cancellation with during Christmas. But yeah, it's such a great occasion for everyone to be involved in, for family, friends. We also had our first alumni event, so we invited all previous players along. Something that we want to continue to do, to really make sure we kind of connect, not just what's happening today, but what's been before us. And it was nice to have Karen Finley down there and some of the old players. And it was a really, really nice event. And hopefully we'll just keep building on that. So yeah, it was a magnificent day. Fireworks, the flames, all the kids running around with face paints. And yeah, it was a quality day out.
I didn't know you were doing that. I don't quite sure how I missed that one. But no, it's I know Worcester did it last week. I think it's really important to remember the history and where it's all come from. So no, it's well done, Harlequins. Yeah, as we say, yeah, a fine victory, 80 points to 7 over Worcester ran in 8 tries in front of like you, a crowd full of alumni. At 6 ways, beating DMP 48-7. Lydia Thompson on the score sheet with a brace, as well as Meg Varley. Both of those back. Great to see Lydia Thompson back out and doing what she does best, scoring tries.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we missed her over the Six Nations, not being part of the squad and just knowing the talent that she is. But, it's good to see that she's performing for Worcester and delivering on what, wingers pride themselves on, which is finishing. And one of the tries where she literally just the next step, she eats up 10 meters. It's just so rapid.
She's a phenomenal player, and lovely person to boot. Bristol stayed in the hunt, didn't they? With a maximum 5 points up at Sale, 24-49. Congratulations to Vicky E. Irwin, because there's a couple of Vicky Irwins up there, aren't there? With her 50th cap for the club. Gloucester Hartbury, the Circus overcame Loughborough Lightning at Franklin's Gardens. Bethany Lewis with a couple. Worth looking up the Helena Rowland try. Talking of X Factor, special talent.
Yeah, it was class try, and it's a bit of a trademark, isn't it? We've seen her do it in a red rose shirt, and also now back playing for club colours. Good to see that she's picking up exactly where she left off.
Where'd you play her?
Pardon?
Where do you play her?
You're
just talking about Ellie Kildunn and that X Factor, and she loves to try. You're not displacing. Obviously, Helen Roman in the wing with Abby Dow, whatever. But centres 10.
I think it's going to start moving towards who you play against. To then what sort of combinations you want to look at. Whether you need somebody like Tatiana Heard at 12, who you need a bit of bump up the middle, or actually you want to have 2 first receivers, and you might look at Helena playing 12. I mean, it's a good problem to have. But yeah, I think she's really good in the front field, but because I think the way that she can unlock defences is really, really powerful. But I also like her in the loose, and I think she likes being in the loose, being able to roam, come in the line where she wants to, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, she's got a box of tricks, doesn't she? She kind of play multiple positions, played well at 13.
Well, I was going to say it's 13, slightly more restrictive, and obviously what I mean by that is, defensively, it's one of the most important positions on the field. But with that outside break off the shoulder of Tatiana Heard.
Yeah. I mean, I think playing at 13 defensively, she's fine. She's played 7. She's played in the backfield. She can manage that corner space.
Oh, she's a tough girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think in attack, it all depends on the way that they play. We've seen previously that they use Emily Scarrett a lot on that hard line. She's the one who's kind of trying to join the defenders. But if you keep Helena Rona on kind of being that line breaker, outside breaker, then it could be a really, really smart decision to have her in.
Oh, yeah. Emily Scarrett. In a rerun of last year's final, Saracens host Exeter with a host coming up with a 29-22 victory. A very Saracens-like purple patch over half-time. Either side of half-time. Saw them score 17 points in 11 minutes. That ability, don't they? So after 15 games, Sean Lynn's Hartbury side still lead the way on 69 points. Exeter just behind on 67. Saracens then on 60. little drop down to Bristol 51, and you guys, Harlequins, not out of it on 47. This weekend looks like this. Bristol host Exeter, DMP facing Lightning, while Saracens travel to Worcester, and Worcester take on Sale. On Sunday, Gloucester Hartpury entertain Harlequins. It's getting really tight up there. Who's going to make that top four?
Well, Exeter and
Harlequins.
Gloucester, we know. And Saracens will hold that position. And you know, we're confident that we've got an opportunity to make top four. So, you know, we believe that we can. We've got a couple of tricky games coming up, but at the same time, Bristol have got to play top two as well. So they've got to play Saracens and Exeter. So yeah, it is a big race.
So Bristol, as you say, come up against Chiefs at home. They then go away to Saracens and then away to Wasps. Whereas Harlequins, you're running, as we've already mentioned, you're away at Gloucester Hartpury on Sunday, then home to DMP, and then away at Worcester. Oh, there's only one run in there I'd prefer.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at you smiling away. And some, and some of the bigger players coming back. May I entertain the question as, are we going to see the Burfmeister General back out on the park?
We're aiming to. I actually did my first full training session last night and I'm sore as hell. But yeah, no, I'm back into training now. And we'll just see how the body feels over the next few weeks to hopefully lace up the boots.
Just necking cod liver oil left, right, and centre. So yeah, you reckon you're going to squeeze in 47 points? Yeah, it's right, isn't it? Yeah, and then you suspect Gloucester will stay top. So then you play Gloucester again. So yeah, this weekend psychologically is hell of a game for you guys.
Yeah, it's a massive game. It's a massive opportunity. We've prepared well so far. You know, when we played them at home, it was close and we had a significant number of players not playing. But at the same time, we know that they would have improved and got better. But yeah, we want to go and leave a mark, whether that's a win or a lose. We want to leave a mark about what we are about in this league. And yeah, we want this game this weekend. We're excited about it and we want to see where we are.
Yeah, that back line is properly firing. I love the way Bella McKenzie goes about her business. I can't say the certain word on this podcast. It's a family show, but just really doesn't give up, does she? Just cracks on. It's brilliant to watch. Let's stay on these shores before we whiz around the oval world with the rest of the news. But just a report that Brian Ashton will be assisting the Red Roses. Those of you who don't know, Brian Ashton, maybe sort of top end of experience, but it's had a huge influence on English club rugby, international rugby. He's been involved in international sides, whether consulting or coaching, since the mid-1980s. Bit of a visionary, really. And the pinnacle was leading the men's side to the 2007 World Cup final. If it wasn't for a certain Mark Cueto foot in touch, or was it, may well have come away with that trophy. Those who kind of know, anywhere he's involved, it's a big positive, right, Beth?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, his kind of CV speaks for itself, and what that can offer to that group and to the coaching staff as well is really, really valuable. Let's remember why we are where we are. It's because the last two World Cups we've not been able to win. And when you've got people with great experience, both in Mitchell and Ashton now, coming into that fold, that kind of can only be a positive thing. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting exactly how his role is going to work. You know, is he going to be working, you know, with the leadership group, closely with the coaching staff, or is he going to have a bigger input across the whole thing? It's really interesting to see how that's going to unfold.
Yeah, well, as you know, we've got a little mole in the camp, or a big smiling mole in the camp. So perhaps we will ask Sunta when we next have her on the pod. You ever work with Brian Ashton?
No, I've not had any involvements with him.
But those that have, so yeah, truly sort of visionary, and has always pointed us one of the best coaches that people ever worked with, and certainly in terms of his attacking philosophy.
I'm Helena Rowland, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
In Toulouse over the weekend, New Zealand were confirmed the HSBC World 7 Series champions, their 7th title in 10 attempts. It was Stacey Flula who inspired the Black Fern Sevens in the gold medal match against the USA, coming back 14-0 down to take it 19-14, stretching their win to 36 games. Australia took bronze with Madison Levi, helping herself to a hat trick that made it an unbelievable 57 tries, and this is a series record. I mean, she's not even been playing that long, and she's just absolutely killing it.
And she just got the lot, hasn't she? She big lady, big frame, great power, off the mark, a couple of steps, got the fend, got great balance for a big lady as well. Yeah, she's absolutely killing it, as are the Black Ferns. I mean, that is utter dominance. What, they didn't win one event, that was it.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a good question. I think everybody want to know why and what's their winning formula. But I think there's a couple of things. I think their program's been really strong and established in New Zealand for a really long time. The infrastructure and the input and the player association that work with them is probably world class and one of the best in the world. And I just think, you know, the way that they operate as a group, the biggest thing about sevens is one of the hardest games, right, to play. And you've got to love that. And I think that they had this such a strong mentality about their work ethic and how they go about their business that, you know, they don't leave anything unturned. And it's what's so good about it is that they don't rely on what's been in the past. They always come back wanting to compete harder than they did before. And people have got, you know, I don't know if fear is the right word, but, you know, when you enter the arena against New Zealand, there's a subconscious mind there that's thinking this is a done deal. So they have that edge over everybody, which, you know, they've been tested, they've been pushed, but they're still a team that always find a way and win in the end, like they showed in that final, down 14-0, something they're never used to being in, but still managed to turn it around. But it's the quality of talent as well. Like the individuals, they're just game changers, like pure game changers. Stacey Flula, one of them, Portia Woodman. I mean, it's just constant threats everywhere. I think when you look at some other teams, you'll probably like pull out, you know, a Caslick and a Levi, but you could probably say that about 6 or 7 of the Black Ferns players that you know that they're game changers and you know that they can turn it on and yeah, I mean, it's pure dominance. It's absolute pure dominance. It always used to be a bit more neck and neck with them in Australia, but seeing Australia kind of like just drop down a little bit and not been as consistent as they usually are. But yeah, fair play to them. I mean, they're definitely inspiring a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the only story of the weekend. Staying with the Sevens, many eyes were on that Olympic qualification. New Zealand, Australia, USA, France already there. Ireland went into the 5th place semi-final player for Fiji, who had started the tournament just 2 points behind them, and GB just behind them as well. Emily Murphy-Crowe rose to the occasion, didn't she? Scoring 2 tries to secure that Olympic place for the first time. Some brilliant celebrations. If you haven't seen those, check those out on CD, on social media. Team GB reached the quarterfinals in Toulouse, like Ireland, Fiji were unable to get past host France. So we'll now have the European Games in late June as another chance to get a spot in Paris 2024. Some positive news out of Irish women's rugby.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic for the women that, you know, that was their goal, to qualify. That's what they've been chasing all year. They've had a bit of an up and down tournament, obviously medalled this year at one of the tournaments. But for them to, you know, high pressure, high stakes, big game. I've been there where we were in Amsterdam and we had to beat USA in order to qualify. And it is so tense, and it's so, like, the pressure that is mounted on you is huge. And for them to do that, and it was a tight game, and it was back and forth, and there was moments that Fiji could have run away with it, but they were possessed. And I actually met with the Irish girls in the week, and they had over 100 supporters that had come out to be with them and sit behind the posts and to kind of have their own little area. So I think that made a massive difference, having all of them there with them as well.
Why wouldn't you want to go to Toulouse and watch some sevens? No, congratulations to them. They thoroughly deserve that place at Paris 2024. Let's stay with sevens, and we were talking about Australia there. This week, Shannon Parry will retire after the test against Fijiana. Saturday we'll see the end of her 13. I was going to say 11. No, 13-year association with the Wallaroos. Olympic gold medalist, series winner, been at 4 World Cups, inspired a generation of girls taking up the game, including, and again, I point you to social media. If you haven't seen this, it's just a lovely, lovely moment. Inspired our next generation, as I say, including the daughter of Wallaroos coach Jay Tregenning. He made it an emotional tribute to Parry. As I say, look that up. Remember, Australia against Fiji at Stadium Moore Park in Sydney, 7:30 p.m. local time for that one. Grab a ticket. Obviously, if you're listening in Australia, probably be a little far to travel if you're anywhere else. She's been a fabulous, fabulous servant to the green and gold, hasn't she?
Oh, like, hugely. And I think, you know, she's, you know, there's always some players that do a lot more than just play, and she's certainly one of those. She's been such a driver for her whole squad at, you know, when things were really tough, when there wasn't much support or resource. She's always been there, always stood up. And she's just an absolute warrior on the pitch. You know, I played against her in both 15s and 7s, and she's just somebody that doesn't go away. She doesn't shy away from the hard stuff, and you know, talented, really smart player. And she evolved her game over time. And I think that's what makes an incredible player, is that they're able to adapt and move forward with what's going on around them. You know, she held her own in a 7 squad that had all this young, bursting, exciting talent, and you notice the difference when she wasn't on the field for them. You know, she's kind of in that caliber of Shani Williams. But yeah, massive asset to the green and gold, and it's great to see that she's going to continue in some involvement with the youth and get her coaching boots on. And what a great way to keep somebody in the game and keep all that knowledge and experience.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier on, Piper Duck, brilliantly named new Wallaroos captain, announced overnight. Over to France, the Elite 1, round 10, final round of the regular season was played out. Over the weekend, Pool 1 saw Stade Bordelais win away at Toulouse 24-30. Lens beat Stade Rennais 24-15, while Montpellier put 25 points on Chili Marazin. Meaning that Stade Bordelais top the group with Montpellier in second. Pool 2, Lyon lost 38-3 to Grenoble. Tight one between RC Rogmenat and Blagnac 24-22. Bobogny travelled to Lille, picking up a 12-29 victory. So Blagnac have run away with the pool, 12 points ahead of Grenoble in second. This weekend, we enter the quarter-final stage. On Saturday, Montpellier face FC Rogmenat. On Sunday, Stade Bordelais face Bobogny. FC Grenoble, Amazons, as they are called, face Stade Toulousien, and Blagnac go up against Lens.
And down in South Africa, second round of the Women's Premier Division, there was a big win for the Western Province on the road to Boland. The final score was 52-7. There was a tight one between Sharks and Golden Lions, and it was the Sharks that came out on top 17-12. And Border Ladies beat EP Quins 8-18. At this early stage, Western Province lead the way ahead of the Blue Bulls, Daisies and EP Queens. This week sees Sharks travel to Border Ladies, EP Queens host Bulls, Daisies and Golden Lions face off against Boland Dames.
In Spain, the Iberdrola League season has concluded. The semi-final stage, Corto Cocos beat Elba. They're in fourth. Elba were in second, 26-12, that score. Majadona, who were in third, beat El Salvador 45-29. In the final, Cortivo Cocos faced Majadona, and Majadona came out on top, 22-39 to be crowned champions. This is your whistle-stop tour around the world. Fun, isn't it? All the news, smashing at us from all over the planet. It's great to get some of the lesser spoken about news out there in women's rugby. But that's about it for another week. Just a few shout outs to finish up with them, Burf.
So Nepal, Qatar and Turkey have all been approved as full members at the annual meeting of World Rugby Council, which will be held virtually on the 11th of May.
Yeah, and it's a big shout out to Vodafone in Fiji, and they've had a 5-year deal with Fijiana 15s, with the biggest commitment to women's rugby in the country, announcing a major sponsorship for the Fijiana national team for the next 5 years. There's a total sum of $3.1 million in investment. Huge shout out, whoop whoop.
And Uruguay's capital, Montevideo, will host South Africa's Olympic qualifier.
They will indeed. What's up this weekend? Well, Burf, what are we doing?
London Sevens.
London Sevens.
Yeah,
what are you doing there?
Just doing some work with Cap Gemini, so hosting some of the hospitality and just enjoying some of the rugby.
Listen, ladies and gents, she's on the corporate gig. She's on the corporate gig. Schmoozing and schmoozing. Well, enjoy the London Sevens. Yeah, do grab a ticket for that one if you enjoy the men's, just the men's sevens at London this weekend. Some brilliant fixtures in the Prem 15s. Get yourselves down to that. Big thanks to you, Burf, to Tom and Vicky as well. Stay safe.
Until next time.